Good morning, boys and girls. Okay, so let's get moving on. Chapter 21. Are we in 21? I think we're in 21. Special injuries or spinal injuries. I asked you guys yesterday to take a little time and research some YouTube videos showing how to put people on spinal boards. There were some really good videos that you guys put up, a couple that I thought were actually excellent, and some that I haven't seen in a while. It's kind of cool to see those. So we're going to be talking about unstable fractures and secondary injuries. Unstable fracture being that something we need to manage because there's no way it's unstable at the moment, so we need to make sure that it does not get worse. And then secondary injuries, things that we need to deal with outside of what actually happened to the main injury. Assume spinal injury, mechanism of injury, and spinal precautions. Whenever we have the MOI, mechanism of injury, okay, we need to assume that there's spinal injury involved, meaning it's a great fall, it's a auto accident, it's auto versus pedestrian, any kind of blunt force trauma that is the clavicles and above. Any blunt force trauma, clavicles and above, we automatically assume C spine, your neck, C spine injury, which means that we need spinal precaution or C spine precaution, putting them on the backboard with a C collar to stabilize them. Signs and symptoms for spinal cord injuries: pain and tenderness, pain with movement, numbness, tingling in the arms and legs, paralysis or difficulty moving, loss of sensation. Incontinence, again, incontinence, if you don't remember, is loss of bowel control. Priapism, which is a spontaneous erection that a male patient will go through after something like this because of spinal injury. This will persist. And deformities to the spine. So in that palpation, if you have something that's you're feeling what's called step offs or depressions within the spine. As I'm moving my fingers down the back, doing my assessment, as I roll someone to the side and I'm moving my fingers down, if I all of a sudden notice something missing, okay, it's a step off deformity, then I realize that there's something seriously wrong with the spine, especially if we're associated with pain, numbness, tingling, paralysis, those types of things. Treat immediate life threats first, always. Bleed controls and airway issues. Take spinal precautions as soon as we can. Assess for signs of spinal injury and immobilize the patient. One of the first basic things you can do, and if you were watching those videos carefully, you'll notice to take spinal precaution is to have one person hold the head neutral. Okay, still. Remember, neutral means pointing forward, okay, or orientated forward, nose and eyes pointed forward. If the patient's head is to the side, we would take our hands and gently, slowly move the head back to neutral. Now, this is important to understand though. If the patient's head is to the side and you go to move that head and they have pain as you move that head, stop where you are. We splint them in place. If you go to move that head and it will not move, it's got to forcefully be put back in neutral position, then don't move it. We splint them as they are. But if we can get them to neutral, that allows us to put the collar on and put together correctly. Mobilization, maintain neutral position. There it is right there. Assess extremities for circulation, sensation, and motor, or CSM. We understand how to do this. Placing that collar in those videos, some of the people discussed measurements of the collar. We're actually measuring from the jawbone to the trapezius muscle with your fingers, okay? Neutral position. Again, if the head's like this and you measure here, that's not going to work, right? It's got to be a neutral position so we measure it properly. Longboard mobilization, the backboard, you guys are looking here. You'll notice down here, okay, they're using a roll towel underneath the small of the back. The reason they're doing this is natural curve in most people. This is going to be very painful to lay like this for a long period of time when you have no lumbar support, basically. So we're providing a little extra lumbar support for them in some cases. The log roll. We've done this. You guys saw this yesterday in the videos, and I'm going to tell you right now with what we see here, this works. I have no problem with this. This is the guy who makes the call. You got the three people on this side who are going to help roll the patient, and then they're going to slide the board in and put the person on top. But reality is, one person could be on the other side controlling just the board. That's the way we do it here in the field. Okay, we have two on the body, one on the board, one on the head. Reality is this works just fine as well. But here we do it where we have one person who's at least controlling the board. This is different. This is called a KED splint. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to do this. This is actually a device used to help pull a person out of a seated position. This device slips behind them, as you can see. Okay, they're in the car. Luckily, we got a convertible. We can make it a convertible. Um, this slides in behind them, straps around their chest, around their head, and actually underneath their legs as well. And as it straps underneath their legs, we tighten everything up. There are black straps. You can see the black straps right here on both sides. And so what happens is I can grab one hand here, one hand underneath the knee, and someone else does it on the other side, and now we can pick the person up in that seated position from the vehicle. And this is just rapid extrication, pulling a person out of a vehicle using a backboard. Again, no top on the car, which we can do, but we also have to know how to do this without taking the top off. We have to be able to get into the car and slide that patient out onto a board properly. One of the videos did discuss helmet removal specifically for a football player. There's some differences here. Think about the different types of helmets we have. This is the helmet for a motorcycle. We need a couple of sets of hands here. If you notice, this guy's holding C-spine precaution right off the bat. The next person comes in to unbuckle the strap. That'd be a good idea before trying to pull his helmet off. He's now holding the head as this person prise the helmet apart, because if you know, a motorcycle helmet fits really, really tight, okay? Prise it apart and then slowly slides it off. And what I like to do, I'm gonna tell you right now, see the hand down here and the hand here? What I like to do is with this hand, I like to keep contact with the back of the helmet as it slides off. In other words, I'm holding the neck, holding behind the head, and as the helmet comes up, I slide my hand underneath that head just not to least home at the back of the head, right? Because what you're not recognizing here is once this helmet is completely off, there's going to be a void space behind that head. And because you have a hand on the chin and one behind the neck, the head's going to fall back. Okay. So you want to maintain a little contact there. Once the helmet is off, the person who took the helmet off puts their hand on the head, keeps the head neutral position, continue on with what we're doing. That's a motorcycle helmet. One other thing about motorcycle helmets, they have pads on the inside. And what people don't know is a lot of times those pads can actually be removed by simply taking a tongue depressor and sliding it inside between the outside shell of the helmet and the pad. There's actually buttons inside there in some cases, and basically slide a tongue depressor in there, kind of twist back and forth, and you'll hear a snap, and that pad will slide out. As the pads slide out, we've got more room inside that helmet to actually move it. We would not remove a motorcycle helmet on a patient that had an open, active airway who showed no real signs of spinal injury. If a patient has definite signs of spinal injury and has airway concerns or issues, then the helmet needs to come off because airways are a priority, right? We need to take care of that. Now, one of the videos I saw about the football player, once they got him onto a backboard, they don't remove that helmet because if you think about it, the helmet and the pads together create a perfect line. Okay, they create a perfect line. The pads here keep the head tilted at the right position. If you didn't have the helmet on with those pads, the head would fall backwards. So the helmet stays in place because that allows you to keep a neutral position. And if you noticed in that video, if you did see it, and I'll post it again so you guys can see it, they actually removed the face grill of the helmet because that gives us access to the airway. That was designed that way so that we can now get to the airway of a football player without actually having to remove a helmet and aggravate the spinal injury. Last helmet we're talking about is a mountain bikers, a BMX bikers type of helmet. You know, the brain bucket thing. It's on top of your head and straps underneath your chin. If you'll notice, that one sticks out far all the way around. It sticks out far in front because if you fall forward, you're not going to break your nose. You're going to hit your helmet no matter what you do. Same thing in the back. You're going to always smack your helmet, not the back of your head. Problem is, though, that helmet always tilts your head forward. So when you do have a mountain biker who's down, a biker who's down, a road cyclist who's down, that helmet needs to come off. It's not hard. Disconnect underneath the chin, put your hands around the head, somebody pulls the helmet off, and we've got it taken care of. Though every helmet has its purpose and its design, and we need to know how they work. These are the three basic types of helmets that we'd have to deal with. That video never worked. That video never worked. I've done that in class. That video never worked. Sorry, guys. Obviously, these videos don't actually work from the PowerPoint. But that pretty much takes us through this whole chapter, 21, which was spinal injury, head and spinal injuries. So I will be posting a question or two associated with this, and we will be moving on to chapter 22. I am going to forego um, testing on this chapter since we are so close to finals. And I am working on our finals. I promise you, I will have some information for you by the end of the week as far as how those will work. Those of you that are seniors, I'm going to need a little information from you or a little contact from you just so we can set up our testing time so I can get you guys done before everybody else, obviously. And then we'll hit finals week where we finish everyone else up. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that was useful for you, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.